Our countdown to first pitch in the Great American Conference in 2022 continues today. This journey through the GAC now takes a stop in Durant, and we get to visit with Zach Crabtree, the head baseball coach for the Southeastern Savage Storm in his 5th season with the program. Coach, last season, team 17-22 overall, 13-20 in GAC play. Better first half of the season, some struggles in the second half of the season. But I want to ask you now, here we are coming into 2022. Do you feel any more normalcy? It seems like things are getting back to that. What's your sense that, and where is the program right now?
Well, as far as normalcy, I think towards the end of the fall, football season made it through, and then basketball started off, and then coming back for the second semester here, I think we've been hit with this new variant that's running rapid, and we've had a few guys out, but we're getting them back. And so hopefully, listening to the professionals and this thing will run its course in a couple of weeks, and hopefully it will not affect baseball too much this spring, and especially with us being an outside sport. But so hopefully we'll get back to some normalcy. The last 2 years are kind of strange. We lost 10 games. That might have been good for us last year, the way the end of the year was going. But hopefully we get back to some normalcy, and our student athletes get to play their full season. It'll be the first time in 3 years, and so hopefully for those guys that are working hard in the classroom and in the weight room and also on the field, they'll get to play a complete season this year, and so as far as where our program is this is my 5th year, and I think it's taken a lot longer than I expected coming in from the junior college ranks of success that we had in junior college for 7 years, and really from the very first year that we got to Murray State and until the last. And I thought maybe, hey, we're just going to redo the same script and be winning a national championship in year 3. And it's been difficult. It's taken some time. Recruiting's a lot different at this level. And the GAC is a really good league. There's good teams from top to bottom. And, our first year we're okay. And then our second year, not to make any excuses, we're not where we're supposed to be or where I expected to be, but our second year we had that devastating accident with Joseph Serta when we were at Arkansas Monticello that really kind of devastated the last half of our season for us. And then the next year we had COVID that shut us down in March. And last year, if you really go back and look, we were off to a decent start in conference play. And then we got hit with some injuries that we just wasn't deep enough, and I'm definitely wasn't good enough coach for us to overcome them. We lost Jacob Potter, our number 1, for a substantial time, and even when he tried to come back, he wasn't healthy. He just tried to gut it through, and he wasn't good. And then, we lost Matt Miles, our leadoff guy, for almost half the season. That was really setting the tone for us at the top of the order. And then we lost Richard Ware for a couple big series there in the middle of the year, and then we had some guys that didn't produce that we thought would on the mound. And so I think that we've gained some depth. Definitely we needed to do that. Everybody has injuries. And again, I'm not making excuses for the way we finished. It was just the facts. We wasn't deep enough and didn't have guys to step in and replace those guys. And we also, out of 9 guys in the offensive lineup last year, 6 of them were freshmen or sophomores. So we played a lot of young guys last year. Or 5 of them. I'm sorry. Richard Ware was a junior. And so everybody else was a freshman or sophomore other than the 2 seniors that we graduated. And so we've got a lot of experience coming back in the field. I'm really excited about the guys we have coming back and the experience they gained last year, and getting to go through the GAC and seeing some of those guys and seeing, the way the other teams play and competing, especially when you got some young guys out there going. And so we gained a lot of valuable experience, even though we didn't win as many games as we probably should have, but went back and looked at a lot of stuff. A lot of it comes from throwing strikes. It doesn't matter if you're, my son's 9U team or your big league baseball team, you got to throw strikes. If you don't throw strikes, you don't have a chance. And so we got to do a better job of throwing strikes. We also got to minimize big innings. I mean, you can go back and look at our games last year, and I would say 80% of them we're in or with a lead late in the game, and we have a walk and we make an error, or we, and it turns into a 3, 4, 5 run inning, and you can't do that. You got to minimize and not give up those crooked numbers on the scoreboard, and you got a chance. And so
Yeah.
I think with the experience we have defensively and offensively coming back, along with some of the guys we have let back on the mound, I think we'll be substantially better. I think we're deeper, and time will tell. We were picked ninth, and rightfully so, the way we finished last year. And like I told our guys when it came out, the thing is, that's just coaches write down what they think on a piece of paper. That doesn't mean that's where you have to finish. We got a chance to prove them right or a chance to prove them wrong, and we're going to go out and compete and hopefully have a much successful season.
Well, Coach, a number of those young players, I'm sure that's good for you having that experience coming back. You have the GAC Freshman of the Year in Seth Morrow, who had 11 home runs for you, 14 doubles as well, led the GAC with 51 RBI and hit 378, so pretty good number there. Some strong play from that youth.
Yes, for sure. Seth Morrow had an outstanding year last year. He was just clutch, and I don't know where we'd have been without him, last year, because he, had a lot of RBIs, like you said, led the league, double-digit home runs and doubles, and his on-base percentage was outstanding. He walked about a little more than he struck out, and so, but I think too, him being a freshman, you saw him he wore down a little bit at the end. It takes a toll on you when you're playing guys much older than you, and it's every day out there, especially as much burden as he was having to carry to provide the offensive numbers for us. And so this year we think we've got him some help, and also if we can keep Miles healthy and Richard Ware get off to a quicker start. Richard Ware has played a lot of baseball for us the last 2 years, and he's finished the year up really good. Both 2 years he's kind of got off to a slow start, and so we've been working on trying to figure out what can get him going, because the last half of the last 2 years he's been outstanding, and so we just try to get him off to a quicker start earlier this season. And so Matt Miles, we talked about a little bit. He was on a pace to have a great season last year. He's hitting over 300. He had 7 home runs, and he only played in 20 games. He's played half the season because of injuries. He tore his hamstring and missed out. And like, he was really doing a good job of setting the table for us at the top of the lineup and allowing being on base so Seth could drive him in. And Buckner last year, one of the guys we graduated, had a good year as well. And so, but like I said, Seth and Matt Miles and Richard Ware, some big pieces to our offense. Also, you had Reed Rice, who played every single game at first base for us last year. His batting average wasn't what we wanted it to be, or him, but he will, he'll rebound and have a good year. He was a freshman and hitting in the middle of the order. You get a pitch to a little different from 22, 23-year-olds than when you're 17, 18 playing in high school, and so he learned a lot as well. And so, and then we have Dylan Hurdback that's played every single game at shortstop since he stepped on campus. And so he's a COVID sophomore, and so he should be bigger. He is bigger and stronger, and he's a plus defender, just an amazing defensive shortstop. And we really think he's going to produce into a great hitter at some point, and hopefully it's this year. But going back to some of the defense and our position players, I'm really excited about what our defense is going to have the capability of being this year. Between Richard Ware at second base and Reed Rice at first base last year, they had 1 error between the two of them on the right side of the infield, and that's pretty impressive. And so those guys being a year older and stronger and a little more experience, and you get Dylan Hurd. He had a few errors, but some of them because of the range that he has. He would get to some balls that some other guys wouldn't. And then, he had a couple errors that probably shouldn't have been errors, but they were. And so we're really excited about our infield defense and also our outfield defense and the opportunity that they have to save us some runs this year.
We're speaking now with Coach Zach Crabtree from Southeastern. The Savage Storm picked 9th according to the preseason coaches poll And Coach, you already mentioned Jacob Potter, so let's go there. Talking about your pitching staff, and led the team when wins last year, 6-3. His record in just 12 appearances, and that includes. And again, this is in the early part of the season. Things seem to go better for the Savage Storm in the earlier part of the season. He had a 9-inning complete game shutout against Northwestern, so he got a lot of innings earlier on. But Potter seems to lead the way then for your pitching staff coming into 22.
Yes, sir. He got hurt. He was off to a great start. The opening day against East Central last year, he went into the 6th inning with a no-hitter, and I think he'd struck out 11. And when we pulled him after that inning, just because of pitch count being opening day, and it was a no decision because we left a lot of guys on base and we ended up winning. But when he left, we were tied, and so he had some great outings last year. And then he pitched, had the complete game at Northwestern, turned around and had a real gutsy performance the next weekend at Monticello, which we won. And then he, the next weekend he got a shoulder impingement, and so we kind of slowed him down. We didn't start him for a couple of weeks, and he thought he was back, and he came back and tried to we brought him out of the bullpen one inning, and he just wasn't what he was. And then we waited another couple of weeks and tried to start him again, and he just didn't have it. So when we finally shut him down, and if he hadn't got hurt, it would have been a lot different year for him. His numbers would have been outstanding. And so hopefully he didn't throw any all fall. He has thrown back to throwing his bullpens this week and last week. And so hopefully he's back to 100%. And if he is, I think he's as good as any pitcher in the league. He's maybe not be as dominant with, the velocity and that kind of stuff. But as far as pitching wise, he's as good as anybody in the league. And I would take him on a Friday night against anybody. Just what he's done the last 2 years for us. And so he's going to set the table for us, and hopefully he's going to be healthy and be back to the way he was the first half of last year. And that'll give us a really good shot, especially on Friday nights against anybody. And then we have some other guys that threw a lot of innings last year, but, again, we struggled throwing strikes, and we had some guys that just have to take it from the bullpen to the game mound. And that's a mindset. And that's something we've worked on all fall and so far this spring. It's just being able to go out and compete. And it really doesn't matter who's in the batter's box, whether it's the East Central Tigers and New York Yankees. You're throwing the baseball where you want to throw it. It doesn't matter who's hitting. You just control the ball and throw it where we want you to throw it. And so hopefully we've got some guys that have some good stuff. They just hadn't went out and produced good numbers on the mound for whatever reason, throwing strikes. And I don't know if it's lack of confidence or what, but hopefully the experience they gained last year and definitely need to go up. Our ERA was, really inflated and not very good. And so we've got to do a much better job again of throwing strikes and keeping the free bases to a minimum and working ahead in the count. And we've got some guys that have a chance to do that. Casey Bryan had an up and down year. If you just looked at his stats, his numbers are pretty good, but he was one outing, he'd be dominating. The next outing, he wouldn't be able to throw a strike, but he's got the stuff is in there. It's just being composed and going out and doing it. Logan Teske is a senior with us, a graduate student, and he's been with us. And again, he's had some really, really good outings, and he's had some outings you're like, man, is that the same guy that pitched last week, and so just getting some consistency from those guys that are capable of doing it and have proven they can, but we just got to do it on a consistent level. Yeah. Kenneth Clear is another guy going out of our bullpen. Connor Priest was a left-handed pitcher that didn't have as many innings as we probably would have liked last year, but we're going to count on him throwing some more this year. And then Dylan Turner was a freshman pitcher for us last year that started some in conference games, especially when Potter went down. He kind of filled in there in that game 3 role for us when we moved everybody up. And so, we got some junior college arms we brought in as well that we're really excited about. Jackson Siosen from Temple Junior College is a back-end bullpen guy that was really good this fall. Cole Knutson, a guy from Grayson County Community College, has been really good. Hayden Alexander, another guy that has a chance to be a conference starter for us. And then Jacob Davenport from Allen County Community College. All those guys have an opportunity to really step up and throw a lot of innings for us. And so we're excited about them. We're deeper than we've been on the mound, which you have to be. And just like last year when Potter goes down, you don't really realize you move everybody up. So your number 2 is throwing against somebody else's number 1, and your 3 is throwing against somebody else's 2, and then your midweek guys throwing game 3. It just, and so we had to get deeper there on the mound and better, and we feel like we have, and now we just got to go out and improve it, And so we're excited about the opportunity. We got 33 conference games, again, to either prove the coaches right at picking us 9th or prove them wrong and be a little higher in the standings when the season's over with.
Well, I know you're trying to do that, and you talk about that opportunity. It gets underway with East Central, and as Coach Gage mentioned, the season bookended for you all. A rivalry game to get things started, a series with East Central up in Ada, and you have a series also with Colorado Christian. A lot of midweek games this season, and all of them seem to be in-state games, and I think that's something that's really neat, getting to face a lot of Division II opponents, Northeastern State, Rogers State, UCO from the MIAA, Oklahoma Christian there as well. Also a midweek game with Oklahoma Baptist out of conference play before closing down the schedule against East Central. As you mentioned, this one at home for you all in Durant. Does look like a good schedule, Coach.
Yes, sir. We think so. With the Lone Star, all the Texas schools moving to they're playing like a 48 or 50 game conference schedule, so you can't hardly schedule those guys anymore. And then where we're located at, we need to play for travel distances midweek, and we need some closer games. And so it's fun kind of getting to play all the in-state schools and competing against those guys, even though some of them aren't in our conference, but it just kind of keeps, we're all kind of recruiting against some of the same guys. So it gives us an opportunity to go out and play and give you a little bit of Oklahoma bragging rights too, So,
it's always important.
Yes, sir. And the deal with East Central, Coach Gage and I were on staff together for 7 years at Murray State. And last year, whenever when 10 games got cut from the schedule, everybody's kind of scrambling, trying to find games. And so both of us had an open first weekend, and we said, well, hey, it's close. If it's if one of us gets rain, the other one, we could flip and flop it, and let's do it a couple years and see how it pans out. And so this is our second year. They came here last year to open up, and we're going there. And so it'll be fun. It's rivalry, and then Coach Gage and I go way back and had a lot of fun together and won a lot of baseball games. It's fun competing against each other, and especially when the Savage Storm wins, So but hopefully we'll go and start the season off right, and but it'll be a good environment. Again, it's a rivalry, and you get to start the season off against them and then end the season, and you kind of see kind of where your teams progress maybe a little bit, but it's a measuring stick from the beginning till the end. But our schedule's definitely challenging, but it's definitely a good schedule. Again, getting to play a lot of in-state schools that used to be in conference in the old OIC, and we look forward to it.
Well, Coach Zach Crabtree, thank you very much for taking time with us today. The Savage Storm picked 9th according to the preseason coaches poll here as we are heading into 2022. Coach, success to you all this season, and again, thank you for taking time with us as we count down to first pitch here in the GAC.
Thank you, sir. Have a great day.